Welcome back to Football Barbie, where I talk about anything and everything football. Welcome to week 9. Can you believe it's already week 9 in the NFL? How crazy is that? So let's get it started and talk to you about my week 9 predictions and who hopefully is going to dominate tomorrow. Let's get it started.
Hold up, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished?
So I'm going to do things a little differently this week. So if I picked any of the teams that I have little gifts of, which might honestly only be, so we have the Eagles pendant. So if the Eagles win, or if Tampa Bay wins, I have little merchandise that I have from going to the games this season. And everybody comment down below. Let me know your predictions. Who do you think is going to go? And who is going to win week 9? Now, honestly, sorry. I will count this as well because I did pick the Steelers. And here is your Steelers towel. But I just obviously didn't get a chance to do the video because I do like to talk about the injuries, and it's a little more difficult to talk about the injuries before Thursday because they have to practice, so it's hard to get the videos up. Maybe I will really try to get the videos up, my predictions, before Thursday morning, before the game. So let's get it started and talk to you about the first game, which is Miami at Kansas City. Now, technically, if you do not know, this game is in Frankfurt, if I'm not mistaken, Germany, and it is a 6:30 in the morning Pacific time here. So I am taking Miami. I think that Miami does have a chance to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a game that I feel like could be really important for the AFC East division, because both Miami and Buffalo do play Kansas City technically at home. And since this is a home game for Kansas City, Miami does have the better record overseas internationally when it comes to winning. So for their main injuries, you have wide receiver Braxton Berrios. He is questionable with a hamstring injury. Durham Smith, tight end, he is questionable with an ankle injury. And then you still have Devin Achane, who is still on the injured reserve list, the rookie who did so well earlier in the season for them. That's a shame that so many people are hurt so far into the season already. As for the Chiefs, you do have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, running back. He is out due to an illness. You got Richie James, wide receiver, who is questionable with a knee injury, and Nick Bolton, their linebacker, is still on injured reserve as well. So Barbie is taking Miami here in Germany on 6:30 a.m. I don't really know if I'm trying to really watch that game. I may get up that early because I really do want to see that game tomorrow morning. Then you got the Vikings at Falcons. So the Vikings, Kirk Cousins, I think, is probably done for the season. He is placed on injured reserve. He did just have surgery on his Achilles. It seems to be this season of torn Achilles here in the NFL. You got Justin Jefferson, their wide receiver, hamstring. He is out, and so is Marcus Davenport, linebacker, is still on the injured reserve list as well. So I don't know if that means that it's the end of the Viking season. Not only do they not have Kirk Cousins anymore, which, I mean, I don't think Kirk Cousins truly was the greatest quarterback anyway, but I said if any team loses their main players like Justin Jefferson, so I'm giving it to the Falcons. The only really major injury for the Falcons is Drake London, the wide receiver. He is out. So it's at the Falcons in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which was one of my favorite stadiums. And I just have a feeling that he is not going to be so good. Next up, you have Arizona at the Cleveland Browns. Now, honestly, I am beyond surprised on how well Cleveland is doing this season. I don't feel like they've been so great. And it's a shame because they do have obviously good players, but for the Arizona's injuries, you have Imari Dermacado, the running back, who is questionable with a toe injury. You still do have Kyler Murray, their quarterback, who is out. He is on the PUP list. And then Michael Wilson, their wide receiver, is questionable. Always my Cats. And then who's out with a questionable with a shoulder injury. You got Greg Dortch, wide receiver, who is questionable. You got James Conner, the running back. The coach says that he is ready to go, but on the injured reserve list still. So, because James Conner for sure is one of their better people on that team. But as for the Browns, which is who Barbie is picking the Browns. You have David Bell, the wide receiver, who is out. Then you have David Njoku, which I'm pretty sure is that not the guy who got his face burnt like a month ago at this point. The tight end, he's questionable with an ankle injury. You got Jerome Ford, their running back, who is questionable with an ankle injury as well. And Nick Chubb, who is still on the injured reserve list. I don't think he's coming back, obviously, the rest of the season. Yeah, that was their main running back. So we're taking the Browns. Next up, you have Rams at the Packers. I'm curious because I don't really think that the Packers, unfortunately, have been that great. We all kind of had a feeling that was kind of how it was going to go since Aaron Rodgers had left their, team. But the Rams, Matthew Stafford is questionable. He's trying to be like relentless and keep trying to play through his injury with a thumb. I guess he has torn it before. Then you do have Puka Nwaka. Their wide receiver is questionable with a knee. Now, they do have Cooper Kupp back, so obviously he was a phenomenal player for them last season. Then you do have Stetson Bennett, quarterback, out with an illness. So Hunter Long, their tight end, is also still on the IR list with a hamstring injury. As for Packers, you have two of your best people could be questionable. If they don't play, for sure, I'm already going to pick the Rams. So Barbie's picking the Rams here. But with the Packers, Aaron Jones, one of the best running backs in the league, questionable with a hamstring injury. Luke Musgrave, the rookie tight end who is killing it this so far season in terms of rookies for tight ends, questionable with an ankle injury. Rudy Ford, their safety, he is questionable with a calf injury. So, yeah, I'm going to pick the Rams. It's kind of hard if Jones and Musgrave do not play. They've both been doing really well for the Packers and helping them to get that as far as they have. We will see, though, what kind of happens. And then next up, you have the Commanders at the Patriots. The poor Patriots, I don't know if their season is just over for them. I don't really know what's happening. They are probably one of my more surprising teams. I think I did give them 6 or 7 wins for the entire season, which I will be doing a recap to see kind of how I've been doing versus wins. Figure out what teams I feel like are surprising me versus what teams are in a good way and a bad way. But the most important person for the Commanders who is out is Curtis Samuel with a toe injury. Wide receiver. He's definitely a phenomenal player on the Commanders team, and the Commanders have been honestly surprising me a little bit this season with how well they are performing. I'm a little impressed. I for sure thought the Giants were going to be better this season and way better than the Commanders, and it just seems to not be the case. Then you do have the Patriots, Devontae Parker, wide receiver, who is out with a concussion injury, and then Pharaoh Brown, tight end, who is questionable with a back injury. So I don't know if the Patriots have really a chance, like I said, to turn it around. I'm picking the Commanders, even though they are playing at the Patriots, and Curtis Samuel is out. I still think that at this point they have a better chance to beat Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Next up, you have the Bears at the Saints. So Bears, we know that Justin Fields is most likely not playing, the quarterback with a thumb injury. They have their backup quarterback will most likely be playing for them. Then you still have Khalil Herbert, who is the running back, who is still on the injured reserve list for them. As for the Saints, you have Kendre Miller. Their running back is questionable. I don't really know what's going on with their, quarterback situation there. Carr, the backup, what's happening. I am picking the Saints. The Bears have 2 wins so far for the season, and we are in now week 9. So I'm not really sure if the Bears are going to be able to pull off wins. My friends seem to think they're not winning any more of their games. Are you a Bears fan? Do you guys think that you have a chance to win any more games? Next up, you have the Seahawks at the Ravens. So the Seahawks, Tyler Lockett, who is definitely a really good player for them. Wide receiver is questionable with a hamstring injury. DK Metcalf, my favorite player on that whole team. Wide receiver is questionable as well. Then you got Kenny McIntosh, a running back. Knee was a full participant in Wednesday's practice. If I'm not mistaken, that is the guy who got hurt, literally came back for that one game, played a couple snaps, and then got hurt again. So that was a shame. I know he was really pissed. He was literally fighting with the people on the sideline, if I'm not mistaken who that person was. Then you get the Ravens. Their major injury is Morgan Moses, OT, who is doubtful. I am going to be picking the Ravens, though. The Ravens apparently are dominating the NFC. I think they're like 17-2 or 17-1 or something right now when it comes into terms of the NFC, like how many wins they have streaks going. So it's awesome for the Ravens. I do know a friend who is a Ravens fan. Barbie's picking the Ravens. I do really want to go to that stadium. I need the Eagles to play them so I can go to that stadium. They might be next year. I know for a fact that they are playing the Saints, and I definitely want to go back to New Orleans really bad because that was just so much fun when I went a couple years ago. Next up, we have the Tampa Bay at Texans. Like I said, if Tampa Bay does win, let me know if you do predict Tampa Bay as well correctly. Please comment, and I will reach out to you, and I will just send you this cool little bag that you can use to get in for the stadium. I thought this was so cool, and honestly, I'm kind of annoyed that the Eagles don't have some cool-ass bag like this. Like, where's my cool bag? Like, this little plastic bag? Like, where's my cool one at? I don't want one. Like, I'm offended that the Eagles, I get a pendant, but at the end of the day, I want a cool plastic bag. It's small like this, and I can easily put around myself. So Tampa Bay Texans, I'm taking Tampa. So if you're taking Tampa, let me know. Is Tampa your team? Tell me. I would love to know. So Tampa Bay, their major injury is Colt Kift, their tight end, who is questionable. As for the Texans, you got Damian Pierce, running back, questionable with an ankle injury. Robert Woods, wide receiver, is doubtful with a foot injury. Brevin Jordan, their tight end, is questionable with their foot injury. And then you have Tegan Corian-Toronto, a tight end, groin injury, is still on the IR list. Next up, we have the Colts at the Panthers. Thank God the Panthers just won this past Sunday. We were celebrating our friend Robbie here's birthday, who is a Panthers fan, and he has nice enough to get his first win on his birthday for the season, at the end of October. So heading into November, I think the Colts are going to beat them out. The Colts' major injury is Josh Downs, wide receiver, who is questionable with a knee injury. Juju Brent, cornerback, is still out with a quad injury. And as for the Panthers, you have Chenault Jr., wide receiver, who is out with an ankle injury. DJ Shark Jr., wide receiver, is questionable with an elbow. Von Bell, safety, is doubtful with a quad. So the Panthers, some of their people major getting hurt. I just think Bryce Young is kind of not performing up to the standards. Now, obviously, it is rookie year. Not every rookie can be good. The Texans, CJ Stroud for the Texans is doing much better, as same as Anthony Richardson, but I know Anthony Richardson is going to get hurt as well. So next up, you have the Giants at the Raiders, and I am picking Las Vegas. I am going to the game tomorrow. This one's a little tough, though, because there's a lot of injuries. So not only is Darren Waller for the Giants, tight end, is out with a hamstring injury. You have Tyron Taylor, questionable, or quarterback, who is out with a ribs injury. Gary Brightwell, the running back, his hamstring is still on IR. Daniel Jones, if I'm not mistaken, he's obviously not playing. And then for the Raiders, they just fired their head coach and their general manager, along with benching of Jimmy G. And then you have Brandon Bolden, their running back, is questionable. So I'm picking the Raiders, but I feel like it's because a lot of people on the Giants are hurt. But it's going to be interesting to see how the Raiders do as well. Okay, next up with the Cowboys are the Eagles. So like I said, if you are an Eagles fan and you think that the Eagles are going to win, comment down below. I will be giving away one prize for the next video. I will discuss it in the beginning of the prize. So leave your comments down below. Tell me who you're picking. And you have to do it. Comment before the games obviously start. And I know there's not that much time, but do what you can. So the Cowboys at the Eagles. I'm going to be picking the Eagles. You have Trayvon Diggs, who is still on the IR list, along with Leighton Vander Esch, linebacker on his IR list. As for the Eagles, Jack Stoll, tight end, who is questionable. Boston Scott, the running back, is out, which sucks. I freaking love Boston Scott. I think he's great for us. He's still out. And Bradley Roby, a cornerback, is out still for the Eagles. But it's at the Eagles. I still think we have a chance. I think we might lose the game when we go to Dallas against them, unless Dallas just starts really choking early. Next up, we have the Bills at the Bengals. So the Bills, Dawson Knox, their tight end, is on the IR list with a wrist injury. Then you have the Bengals, Joe Mixon, running back, who's questionable with the chest. Charlie Jones, wide receiver, may not return next week in week 10. Chase Brown, running back, still on the IR with a hamstring injury. So I think the Bengals started the season 1-3, and I think it said they won maybe the past 3 games, if I'm not mistaken. The Bengals are truly that team, though, that I really thought would have their shit more to F together here. And I don't know. The Bengals have, started trying to come back towards now the middle of the season here. I did say that they were going to be the winners of the AFC North. I'm a little questionable on that now. I am picking the Bengals. I feel like every time I don't pick the Bengals, they freaking win. And it's driving me crazy because it's like they're like a toss-up. They're literally a coin toss. They gonna win? They gonna lose? What's gonna happen? Because I think the Bills are still a good team. Next up, you have the Chargers at the Jets. So Chargers, Joshua Palmer, wide receiver, is questionable with a knee injury. Mike Williams will be out till next season for them. Then you have the Jets. Xavier Gibson, wide receiver, is questionable. Then you have Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, we know he is out, but he says that he told apparently Pat McAfee that he's not jogging yet, but he is able to walk without any discomfort after he had his surgery. I think Pat McAfee is great. At the end of the day, I think that's, to me, is goals. So basically, those are the 13 of the 14 games. Obviously, I did pick the Steelers, but that wasn't in my list. So I am curious, I'm picking the Chargers. Let me know down below, comments, what you think. Would love to know. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Love ya.